Once upon a time, among the Brahmins, there was a woman who was still young, charming, and had a very strong love in her heart. Even though she is married, she is often flirtatious, so she fantasizes about having an affair every day. Although her original idea wanted to be like that, because there was still money in the house, she was still cautious and had to suppress her desires. One day she thought of a very sinister plan. On the surface she often pretended to use filial piety to tease her mother-in-law, so every day she often took care of buying delicious and strange foods for her to eat and drink, but in his heart, he was waiting for an opportunity to harm her. When her husband saw this, he was secretly happy, thinking, "And quote, today my mother is old and weak, but she is lucky to meet a kind wife who knows how to take care of her daughter-in-law and take care of her so that she eats well and sleeps well while her hair is gray and her skin is wrinkled like that." End quote. What a very joyful thing. End quote. The prostitute knew that her husband had made a mistake in her plans, so she took the opportunity to say to her husband, end quote, "Dear sir, although I have wholeheartedly raised my mother like that, it is not enough. It and number 39 's just something in the world, so filial piety is not something that can be called perfect. So he should also find another method to transform life and death so that his mother can escape her soul and be able to live. If we are reborn in heaven and enjoy happiness, then we will be fully enlightened as children. Dawn and number 39. The material things in this life are just lies while you and number 39 alive. End quote. The husband overheard such earnest words and immediately replied, end quote, "If we want our mother to quickly ascend to the throne, God, there is only one method of Brahmanism, which is to use a firewood pit to burn the mother. But I can and number 39 bear to do that." End quote. When the prostitute heard her husband and number 39's response, she knew she had fallen for her trick, so she added, end quote, "That and number 39's right." In our morality, there is such a solution for liberation and transcendence, so we should immediately implement it, so that our mother can go to heaven to enjoy the blessings of heaven, and we can also repay the kindness of being born. At his wife and number 39's words, the husband immediately believed it, but he did not expect that his wife and number 39's intention to do so was to harm his mother, so he went out into the field to dig a very large but very deep cellar, and loaded firewood into it. Then he set up a party near the cellar, then returned home, took his mother there to host the party, and all the relatives, guests, and Brahmins came to attend, and drank wine and listened to the music. After the banquet was over, the guests all returned home. The prostitute and her husband took their mother out to the cellar to watch, then suddenly pushed her mother into the cellar. The wife thought it was her flesh. Her mother-in-law and number 39's wife had perished freely in heaven, so they returned home together. Unexpectedly, there was an empty space in that cellar without fire, causing her to fall into it without anything harming her life, so she could find a way out. When she got out of the dangerous place, it was already late at night, everything was quiet, she groped her way back home. But because the road was far and the sky was pitch black, she tried to climb a big, thick tree branch to hide herself. While she was sitting on the tree, suddenly a group of thieves came to rest at the base. She immediately cleared her throat loudly. The thieves panicked and quickly ran away, leaving behind the things they had taken from her. At dawn, she immediately climbed down and saw the jewels and money. was full under the tree, so she selected precious items such as gold, silver, jade, ivory, bracelets, earrings, etc., and brought them home one by one. When the prostitute saw her mother-in-law return, she was frightened and thought that she had returned home in spirit, so she closed her eyes and bowed her head, not daring to greet her. Her husband thought his mother had been reborn in heaven and was now coming to visit him, so he hurriedly clasped his hands and bowed to her. Said, and quote, "I remember my wife advised me to use the method and quote, transforming birth and saving death, escaping life and transcending soul and quote. So now that I can go to heaven to visit me, I am very happy." End quote. The mother heard when I said that, I realized that my daughter-in-law wanted to harm me, so she end quote, made a plan for herself and quote, meaning she used the plan of the daughter-in-law who had harmed her to harm her. She then said, end quote, "I remember that you and your husband performed the miracle of ascension for me, so now I am liberated and reborn in heaven, enjoying many blessings. Only by living like this can you and your husband be fully filial. Thou." End quote. She turned her face to her daughter-in-law and gave her some precious items in her hand, saying, end quote, "These items, pearls, earrings, bracelets, gold, and bracelets are the things that my grandparents and I trusted you to bring back to you." End quote. But because my mother and number 39's legs were weak and her body was thin, she could and 39 carry much back. Besides, those people texted me and told me that you should also perform the ascension magic like you did for me, so that you could go to heaven and forget. There were still a lot of those jewels. End quote. The prostitute heard her mother-in-law say that, thought it was true, so she was happy and told her husband, end quote, "Today, I have the fate to fall into the fiery pit and be brought to heaven." End quote. Heaven enjoys strange treasures, but unfortunately because my mother is old and weak, she cannot bring all the treasures back. So if you are willing to allow me to perform the magic of transcendence like my mother, then I will surely bring all the treasures. When we in number 39 all back, then we in number 39 become rich families and enjoy happiness together. End quote. The husband heard his wife and number 39's words like that, and he happily agreed, so he immediately dug a tunnel and did it the same way. Burned his mother the day before. But alas! As soon as the fire pit was set up, the prostitute immediately threw herself down. Her treasures were nowhere to be found. On the contrary, she was burned by an unimaginably hot fire, and the result was horrifying and worthy of being an example for women. The daughter-in-law is not filial to her mother-in-law. Thank you for joining us for today's fairy tale. We hope these stories bring joy and meaning to your day. If you love our channel, please hit the subscribe button so you won't miss any exciting tales. Wishing you a good night and sweet dreams. See you in the next story.